This is the fastest and most realistic way to become a millionaire. Step number one in your millionaire journey is to pick the right business model. And these are the highest leverage business models you can steal to start your first business today. Number one, service business. Think lawn care, snow removal, window cleaning, website building. Just pick one thing. Don't be everything to everybody. I have a friend of mine, Stefano. He's 23 and has a $3 million a year snow removal business. Why? Because he focused on one thing, reoccurring revenue, removing snow. He focused, he made it happen, and that's how he became a millionaire in almost his first year. Number two, product business. Building something that people buy, direct to consumer or retailers. And people say, well, I don't have the money to pay to buy or build the thing. Well, you can kickstart, you can crowdfund. I have an investment I made in a company called Laundry Sauce. This is how they went from $0 to 8 figures in revenue in under a year using this exact strategy. You want to pre-sell what you're about to build so you can use the customer's money to fund the inventory that you need to buy to give to the customers and sell new customers. Number three is consulting business. Teach people how to do something. And if you don't know how to do it, go learn it. You could read the top 5 books on how to be a great marketer for local businesses and then go teach local businesses how to market their business. It's not a done for you like a service business. It's people paying you to learn the strategies that you've extracted from other smart people in the world. Maybe teach people how to mow their lawns or how to grow a garden or build world-class websites. These are all things that you can get paid to teach people. Consulting has one of the highest profit margins because the cost to deliver is so low. Essentially, it costs you nothing. It's your time. Number 4 is agency. And this is where people pay you to do it for them. It's one of the easiest because you are the one delivering the value. You could do accounting, you could do marketing, sales, whatever the business needs, and they don't want a full-time person, they're going to hire you part-time to do that work. One of my favorite business models right now, the most profitable, is AI business automation. You could learn everything you need to know over the weekend on how AI works and connect that with workflow software like Make or Zapier. Go find businesses and tell them, I can map out your process and show you how you can remove people and costs in that process using AI, and they'll pay you the big dollars. Number 5 is software business. This is my favorite. Now I'm biased because it's where I've made most of my money. And here's how you start a software business even without coding skills. But why is this model so good? Reoccurring revenue. You code it once, it runs forever. It's a super high leverage business model. And if you can't code, just find a problem that you could solve using code and solve it manually. Spreadsheets, that's how most software companies start. Then you can go pre-sell the solution, same strategy we just talked about for the product business. Take all that money they pay you and use that money to hire a coder, online you can find them, to code the solution and then deliver it to the customer. Here's where most people make the mistake. Picking the right model is the difference between having a headwind and it making it hard or a tailwind and it's super easy. If you want to be a millionaire fast, picking the right business model is the first step, which leads us directly to step 2, which is to find a huge pain. So if you want to be a millionaire, here's what you need to do. Number 1, find a huge pain in the market. If we solve big problems, we get paid in a big way. Number 2 is solve it in a better way than any other solution on the market. When I started my company Clarity, the big problem I was trying to solve is people getting connected and getting advice from people they follow. Micro celebrities, people on Twitter, people on Instagram, people on LinkedIn. And I thought everybody will want to reach out and have a conversation with their followers, their fans. The problem is that it turns out the people that follow aren't necessarily people that pay for advice. See, I had the customer totally wrong. And I thought it was every entrepreneur in the world. The truth is it's not every entrepreneur in the world. It's the entrepreneurs that pay to go to events because they value access to knowledge and speed and to save themselves time. And they go to events to meet the experts on stage, to network with people in the crowd, and they're willing to spend money. So sometimes you think you're solving a big pain, but it's not for the market you thought. You know, in the world of software, we talk about painkillers and vitamins. We want to build a solution that's a painkiller, a must-have, not a vitamin, which is a nice-to-have. If you want to become a millionaire, the easiest way is to solve big problems for the richest people you know. Talk to them, ask them what problems they're having, understand how they've solved them in the past, and see if there's a better way. You may not have the answer, but you could go find a consultant that already solves this problem for the big companies, and they'll teach you. They'll show you. That's how you can fast track your way to solving big problems for rich people. You just don't want to fall in the trap of fixing broke people's problem. They'll say they have a problem. They just don't spend money to fix it. There's a reason why they're a small business. They don't invest in solving big problems. Which leads us directly to step 3, which is never charge for your time, always charge for the outcome. So when I hire people to clean my cars, they don't charge me by the hour. They charge me per clean because I'm not paying for their time. I'm paying for the 10 years of experience they have to be able to clean 3 cars in under 3 hours. And I want them to not only do the best job, but have the best tools and to be rewarded if they figure out how to do that faster. If I was paying for their time, they would be penalized for doing it faster, which would then affect me, which is kind of crazy. So in your business, you want to charge for the outcome, not for your time. People make this mistake all the time. They're like, time and materials, time and materials. Don't do that. Problem, solution, payment. You want to charge an amount of money proportionate to the problem you solve. If it's a big problem, take 10% of that. That's what you charge. If you want to make your first 100K, figure out how you can make or save someone $1 million. It's about 10%. Whatever value, whatever problem, how much time you save them, take that 10% and that's your fee. See, I one time had a bookkeeper come to me and she was like, I want to be making $300,000 a year in about 5 years. And I was like, awesome. I want you to be making that too. Let's talk about what would need to be true for that to happen. First off, you need to figure out how to make me $3 million a year. Money saved, money made, opportunities, you tell me. But right off the bat, when I say that, they were like, oh, I don't know how to do that. And that's the whole point. I want you to be making $300,000 a year, but you got to figure out how to create that kind of value. Business is no different. If you want to be a millionaire, you need to disconnect your time from your income and charge people for the problem you're solving, not for the time you're putting into it. But you can't charge crazy amounts of money without people knowing, liking, and trusting you. Which leads us to step 4, which is build demand for your business. You don't want to be the best kept secret. Here are the 4 P's of marketing that I use in all my businesses to generate endless amounts of people knocking at my door asking to buy. The 4 P's are as follows. Number 1, publish. Think content, social media, SEO. You're educating the market, you're producing content, you're teaching people how to solve the problem themselves, you're giving them results in advance before they ever buy from you, and that builds great marketing and also trust. The second P is paid. Think Facebook, TikTok, Google AdWords, where you're paying to get in front of somebody and borrow their attention. And the key there is to make sure that whatever problem you're trying to solve aligns with what the person's expecting to see on that marketing platform. So if they're on Facebook, your ads have to be more social, more inquisitive, kind of like a Facebook post. If you're on Google, you want to run an ad that aligns with their search term, so that's very specific to solve the problem that they searched about. Number 3 is partners. Some people call them affiliates. I like to call them strategic partners. Other people call them value-added resellers. But the idea is asking yourself the 3 F's. What are my ideal customers currently funding? So what are they spending money on? Who are the people that they follow, and only they would follow, like the experts in the industry? And then where would they frequent with their time, either online or in person? So whoever has access to those customers, those are your partners for them to maybe do a webinar with them, maybe get an email sent out to those customers. You have a non-competitive way to add value to their customers that partner, you can give them a piece of. Partnerships are like the best way to grow your business because they're going to subsidize your marketing spend. Number 4 is PR, and this is one of my favorites. Think, podcasts, getting covered on blogs, but this is where people that have a platform are interviewing you or doing reporting on you so that you can get in front of their audience. It's a little bit harder to get going, but once you get it going, it works like a flywheel, and it's one of the best ways to not only get a bunch of people to know about you, but to position yourself as an expert or the go-to brand in your category. So you can't become a millionaire if no one knows about your business. But there's a difference between knowing and trusting your business, which leads us directly to step 5, which is to protect your reputation. All businesses and individuals, all they have is their reputation in the market. When you think about Apple, you think innovation. I mean, does BlackBerry have the same reputation? Do you even know who BlackBerry is anymore? No, probably not. It's not a surprise that Apple's worth $3.5 trillion and BlackBerry, who was once bigger than Apple, is now worth less than 1% of Apple, but $1.9 billion, which it blows my mind they're still worth that much. But here's my question. Are you known well or well known? Do you have values that you stand for? When things go bad, how do you show up? Do you deliver on your promises? But not only deliver, but do you over deliver? Are you somebody that people are talking about because your experience to work with is like truly remarkable? Which is what marketing is about, is being remarkable, meaning you are remarked on, which leads us directly to step 6, which is under promise and over deliver. I once knew a guy and he had this bad habit of over promising his customers all the time. And he did it because he really wanted the business. The problem was that he was never able to deliver on what he sold, and then people just kept leaving disappointed. You can do that for a short term, but long term, everybody's going to know you're that person. So here's how you do it. Promise as little as possible to get them to buy and get them a result. Once they buy, go above and beyond. The extra 10% will set you apart from everybody else. If you want your business to be extraordinary, guess what? You have to be extra. But you won't be able to go above and beyond if you're the only one working in the business. Which leads us directly to step 7, which is delegate everything that doesn't make you money. Most people spend time to save money, which sounds normal. Instead, I want you to spend money to save time. This is where the ATF framework from my book, Buy Back Your Time, comes into play. A stands for audit. I want you to look at your calendar and get rid of anything that you shouldn't be doing that you could pay somebody else a low amount of money to do. That's where you gotta learn to delegate. Some stuff you just have to delete. The second part is T for transfer. First, we list everything that's involved, we define it, then we do it, but while we're doing it, we record ourselves, so we create a video. And then when we hire somebody, we delegate it, we give them the video to watch. It's the define, do, and delegate strategy. So the third part for F is fill. And this is where you have to fill your time, not watching Netflix and doing nothing, but learning the next level skill or habit you have to add, or even beliefs, so that you can increase your ability to add value. That's what you want to look for. It's like, how do I increase my income producing skill, either as a leader or as a person? I always look at where's the next bottleneck in the business that I got to go learn so I can unblock it, so I can move up and help the whole team. But once you delegate, how do you make sure those people are doing the right work? Which leads us directly to step 8, which is to train other people to do work. I literally coach some of the top CEOs in the business space, and even they struggle to get things off their plate. I mean, they buy back their time, but I tell them, you have to make sure it stays sold. If you hire somebody and then do their job, you're not really winning. So I call this process the camcorder method. Step 1 is very simple. We need to outline what a 10 out of 10 for this thing getting done. If I'm gonna delegate creating a presentation or showing up for a customer site or mowing a lawn, what does a 10 out of 10 look like? It's kind of the outcome I want the person to achieve. Step 2 is, when I evaluate the work, what are the criteria that I would use to measure if they did a good job? And I just outline them. It could be like 5 things, 4 things, 3 things, but it's the criteria that I'm gonna use to evaluate the work after it's done. The person shows it to me. I'm gonna go this, this, this. So take some time to evaluate what criteria it is. Number 3 is, you have to collect you doing the work. Screenshots, videos, templates you've created. You want to ask yourself, when are times that somebody else did this bad? When did they do it good? When did you do it bad? When did you do it good? You want to like collect all the artifacts or the examples that you could give somebody. Step 4 is to record yourself doing the work, which is what I call net time, no extra time. If you're going to do the work, do it, but just talk out loud. You can record yourself on your iPad. You can record yourself on Loom, Zoom, but you're doing the work while you're creating an opportunity to teach somebody else. Number 5 is you transfer. You give them all of the stuff you've collected, you give them all the videos you've recorded, and you have them create the standard operating procedure, not you. They watch the videos, they create the SOP. In today's world, they can use AI. And then afterwards, they ask you questions for things that might be a gap, and you answer those questions, and then they update the SOP so it gets even more complete. Step 6 is review. This is where you've given them the work to do, and now you're sitting down with them and you're reviewing. How did they do? How did they meet the criteria? And you're rating them. That way they're getting feedback. This is what I call training, but training is only one part of building a team, which leads us to step 9, which is to deploy transformational leadership. When I was building my first company, I had 12 people reporting to me. My life was chaotic. I would wake up and tell everyone what to do, check that they got it done, and I wouldn't even really start working on my projects till about 6 p.m. If you've ever had a big team, you could probably relate to that. So now what I do is completely different, because I used to do this thing called transactional leadership, which is tell them what to do, check that they got done, tell them what to do next. It's the tell, check, next loop. What I do today is transformational leadership. I start with the outcome. So I describe what it looks like when it's awesome, when it's great. Think if I was asking you to climb a mountain, I'm actually gonna describe what the mountaintop feels like, what it smells like, what you're gonna see when it's up there, so you can get like a real connection with the outcome. Number 2 is I'm gonna give you a way to measure your progress. Most people in business don't have a number that they use to tell them if they're doing a good job. So we're gonna define what is that number that we're gonna measure. In the mountain climbing, it's feet of elevation gained win per day. And you're going to measure yourself and you're going to report every day. And then if for whatever reason you don't make a lot of progress, the third step is coach. That's when they're reporting back and they didn't make a lot of gains. You write it down, you have a conversation with them. I'm going to teach you how I coach people, and it's how I work with the top CEOs to entry-level people. The first step is I talk about the core issue. It's an acronym, COACH, okay? So CEO stands for core issue. I don't talk about the activity, I talk about the principle that they didn't follow. So the activity might be that they got lost, but I'm going to talk to them about how you stay on track as a principle. Second thing is if I know what the principle is, I want to go to A, part of coach, which is actual story. I'm going to share with them a time where I was working on a project and I got a little sidetracked and I got way off track, and then my boss brought me back and explained to me the same principle, and now I don't make that mistake. The CH stands for change, and that's where I try to enroll them into the change. So I'll ask them, based on what I just shared with you, what did you take away? What are you going to do different going forward? And they give me the answer. Now, I know you're probably thinking this feels slow, but I'm telling you, this long-term is 100 times more fast because you don't create a bottleneck. And the reason why you have bottlenecks in your business is because they're at the top, which is you. And the first employee, you're going to teach them how to lead other people. So if you don't use the transformational leadership strategy, you will become the bottleneck, which leads us directly to the 10th and final step, which is to create more millionaires. If you follow the steps in this video, you'll become a millionaire. But do you know what's more fun than making millions for yourself? Making other millionaires. I was once working with a private client, and one of the exercises I got him to do is create a vision and a vision board for how he's going to create his multi-billion-dollar vision for his life. And he sat down and he created his vision board. And when he came back and he showed it to me, I asked him, where are all the other millionaires? And he's like, what do you mean? He essentially designed this future world where he had all this stuff, proof that he was successful, and there was nobody else there. There was no pictures of groups of people. There was no teams. There was no nothing. It was supercars and jets and yachts. And I said, okay, let's take a step back. If you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you need to go with other people. See, your personal income will never exceed the amount of value you create for other people around you. It's just how the world works. If you want to make more money, you got to become more valuable. A lot of people think this only applies to your clients, but it's to your team too. If you want to go beyond making $1 million and make 10, 20, 30, even 100 million, you need to create more millionaires along the way. If you want to learn how to build a business that runs itself, click the video and I'll see you on the other side.